Good morning, and welcome to Cafe Talk. It is Saturday, August 29th, 2026, and the first cool-looking drink on a menu has already caught my eye.
Happy Saturday! I came in planning to order plain coffee, which is exactly when a menu tries to talk me into a tiny autumn costume.
Today we have three stories with unexpected turns: McDonald's fall coffee flavor, a striking bird near Chicago, and a much lower reported valuation for Shein's Hong Kong IPO.
Dessert in a cup, a bird that makes you look twice, and a business number that took the elevator down. That is a lively little menu.
At Cafe Talk, we turn news into natural English conversation, so you can hear how friends react, ask questions, and make sense of a story together.
No stiff newsreader voice. Just enough space to say, wait, tell me that part again, before the next sip of coffee.
If that kind of daily English listening practice helps you, please subscribe to Cafe Talk and join us whenever you want a short, friendly, daily news chat together.
I like that the practice can fit between breakfast and the moment when my weekend laundry starts judging me.
Today's keyword is unexpected turn, meaning a change or detail that sends a situation somewhere you did not first expect.
Unexpected turn. Perfect. My coffee order has taken plenty of those, but I did not expect one bird and one IPO to join it.
That is the connection today. Each story begins with something familiar, then takes an unexpected turn. A fall drink avoids pumpkin, a bird looks split in two, and a valuation drops sharply.
Okay, I am ready. Start with the drink, because my imagination has already put a pie on top of my cup.
Let's begin with what McDonald's is doing for its 2026 fall drinks.
I am listening with both hands safely away from the seasonal menu.
McDonald's is using a caramel apple pie flavor for its 2026 fall drinks rather than pumpkin spice, and that unexpected turn makes a familiar seasonal menu feel different.
That is bold. Pumpkin spice usually arrives like it owns a tiny key to every fall door.
The flavor appears in a frappé, an iced coffee, and a latte, so it is not just one special drink sitting alone at the edge of the counter.
3 choices is dangerous information. My practical brain says pick one, and my snack brain says conduct a full investigation.
The drinks are described with whipped cream and apple pie crumble on top, which gives the flavor a very visual, dessert-like finish.
I can almost hear the crumble landing. It sounds less like coffee quietly waking up, and more like coffee putting on a party hat.
That is why unexpected turn works here. The familiar fall drink idea remains, but the usual pumpkin direction is replaced by caramel apple pie.
So the season did not disappear. It just changed shoes and showed up carrying an apple pie.
Exactly. The stated strategy is to use nostalgia while also drawing beverage traffic, so the flavor is meant to catch attention in a crowded seasonal moment.
Nostalgia is powerful. One smell or taste can make a person pause in a grocery aisle like they have been handed an old photo album.
That is a nice image. Here, the coffee flavors borrow the feeling of a pie without asking people to sit down with a fork and a plate.
Which is helpful if you are walking somewhere, but emotionally confusing if you suddenly want a blanket and a window seat at 10 in the morning.
Right. In this story, the unexpected turn is small but clear. Fall coffee does not automatically mean pumpkin spice.
A useful reminder for my future menu decisions, although my wallet would prefer fewer reminders.
We will leave the ordering decision to you. Our next story has a much more surprising visual turn.
Good, because no coffee topping can compete with a bird that looks like 2 sides decided to share one outfit.
Near Chicago, a bobolink appeared at a preserve in Barrington Hills with a bilateral gynandromorph split, making the bird's 2 sides visibly different and drawing attention to the rare observation.
That is the kind of bird sighting that would make me stop mid-sentence and slowly lower my binoculars just to check my own eyes.
The reported split was specific. The bird's right side had male plumage, while its left side had female plumage.
So it was not just a funny patch of feathers. The whole picture had a clear right and left surprise built into it.
That image keeps the fact clear without making it heavier than it needs to be. The report also says the bird behaved like a male during courtship.
Now that is an unexpected turn inside the unexpected turn. The bird did not just look striking. It had a very active life in the preserve, too.
According to the observation, it found a mate and raised fledglings. So the story includes both the unusual appearance and that reported outcome.
I am relieved the story has a gentle ending. I pictured everyone watching very quietly, then cheering in the polite birdwatcher way.
It does give the observation a fuller shape. The plumage split catches the eye, while the courtship, mate, and fledglings show what observers reported afterward.
And it reminds me that the first strange-looking detail is not always the whole story. Sometimes the bird has already moved on with its day.
That is a thoughtful way to put it. We can notice the rare visual detail without turning the bird into a costume or a puzzle for our entertainment.
Yes. It is still a real bird, not a tiny mascot hired to make my Saturday more interesting.
Exactly. The reported facts stay simple. Barrington Hills, a bobolink, male plumage on the right, female plumage on the left, and a male-like courtship that led to a mate and fledglings.
That is already plenty to carry home. My mental bird sketch has more personality than anything I could draw on a cafe receipt.
The unexpected turn here is visual, but it also changes how long we stay with the story. One glance leads to a much more memorable observation.
I would definitely look twice, then probably look a third time, because I do not trust my first two looks before coffee.
Shein's Hong Kong IPO valuation was reported at about $25 billion on August 17th, a sharp, unexpected turn from the company's roughly $100 billion valuation in 2022.
That is a number big enough to make my tiny calculator close its little plastic eyes for a minute.
The comparison is the key point. About $25 billion is roughly 1/4 of the earlier 2022 valuation, which shows how large the reported cut is.
Even without being a business expert, I can hear the difference. That is not a small edit with a pencil. That is a very different price tag.
Right. The report connects cooler investor demand with slowing growth, regulatory pressure, and cost pressure.
It sounds like several heavy bags arriving at the same time. None of them has to be dramatic alone, but together they make the walk much harder.
Exactly. The central name is Shein, and the current news is the reported lower Hong Kong IPO valuation. Those are the pieces to keep in view before adding any bigger story around them.
So I do not need a giant finance textbook on the table. I just need to understand that the expected value attached to the listing became much lower.
The timing also changed. Additional reporting as of August 20th said the listing had been pushed back, with a target around September 1st.
So the number moved down, and the calendar moved too. That is a double reminder that a plan can feel less solid than it looked before.
It is another unexpected turn, but we should keep it precise. The reported target was around September 1st, not a promise about what would happen afterward.
Good distinction. Around is doing honest work there, like a friend who will meet you near the cafe but refuses to pretend traffic does not exist.
Nicely said. The reported story is about a lower valuation and a delayed listing target, while the stated pressures help explain why investor demand has cooled.
I can see why people watch these numbers. They are not just digits on a screen. They change the mood around a big plan.
That is the human side of a business story. A valuation can sound abstract until we notice it reflects how investors are responding to growth, rules, and costs.
And then my coffee receipt starts feeling philosophical. A number can be small on paper and huge in the room.
In this case, the contrast between about $100 billion in 2022 and about $25 billion now is the clearest unexpected turn.
A very serious turn, yes. I am glad we can say it plainly without turning the table into a business school lecture.
We started with a fall drink, watched a rare-looking bird, and ended with an IPO valuation. But each story took an unexpected turn.
First, McDonald's skipped the usual pumpkin direction and went for caramel apple pie, which is still making my imaginary cup look very crowded.
Then the bobolink near Chicago showed male plumage on its right side and female plumage on its left, before the reported courtship led to a mate and fledglings.
And Shein's reported valuation moved from roughly $100 billion in 2022 to about $25 billion, with the listing target pushed towards September 1st.
Today's phrase was unexpected turn. It helps us notice when a story changes direction in a way we did not first see coming.
It can be playful, like pie-flavored coffee, visual, like that bobolink, or serious, like a number changing the mood around a major listing.
Which unexpected turn stayed with you? Option A, McDonald's caramel apple pie coffee. Option B, the bobolink near Chicago. Or Option C, Shein's lower reported IPO valuation.
I am option B, because I would remember that right and left plumage long after I forgot what I ordered for breakfast.
I am option A, because changing one familiar flavor can make a whole seasonal menu feel new.
Tell us whether you are option A, option B, or option C, and why in the comments. Any language is welcome, and an emoji is welcome too.
Take today's phrase with you. An unexpected turn can make us pause, look again, and understand the next detail more carefully.
That is a good habit for news and for cafe menus, although one of those habits costs less money.
If this conversation helped your English, please like, subscribe, and come back to Cafe Talk tomorrow.
Have a good Saturday and leave a little room for the unexpected turn in your day.